Okay, so Brian, you want to get started here?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right. So, hello and welcome, you guys. Thanks for visiting with us in the last of our 4 webinars dedicated to transitioning your studio to online photo sales. My name is Terry Keller. I'm the Sports and Events Product Manager for Black River Imaging, and I'll be your host as we learn how easy and profitable it can be to take advantage of the new technology that's increasingly in demand. Joining me today is my colleague, Philip Buckley. He's our volume specialist here at Black River Imaging, and during the discussion and throughout the webinar, he'll be manning the Q&A. And on that note, I'd like to ask that if you do have questions, please ask them. Don't hesitate. Any question we'll answer. Use any photography question we'll answer.
Yeah.
Use your Q&A button on your Zoom console to do so. Don't do it in the chat. We'll miss the chat, and the chat goes away once this webinar is finished. But the Q&A stays with us. So, okay, so that's my spiel. All right, so you guys already know who the guest host is. A lot of you are joining us again. It is our own PhotoDay Trailblazer and PD100 hashtag smasher, Brian Derenski. Welcome. We made it. This is the last in this series. It's been
Number
so
4.
much fun.
We didn't crash and burn yet.
So. That's right. We did, and it's been awesome. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, I've had fun. So, this has been enjoyable, and I've enjoyed the questions and stuff. Even after the Zooms, we've had some fun questions come in. But
so your life has been busy after
yeah,
right.
I find myself spending way too much time on Facebook anymore.
So, it's for a good cause. It's for a good cause.
I love helping people, and if I can help anybody, that's that's what I'm here for. So.
All right. Anyway. So in the previous 3 webinars, the first webinar we got started with PhotoDay. In the second webinar, we went over and learned how to create packages that really drive sales up for you. In the third webinar, we did sort of a semi-deep dive, mid-range dive on the Capture app, PhotoDay's Capture app. And those videos are already up on YouTube, on the Black River Imaging YouTube channel. I encourage you, if you haven't seen them, go ahead and watch those. Great information. And if you want to do a deeper dive into any of those subjects, go to photoday.io. They've got a great knowledge base there. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're kind of giving Brian the lead here. Brian's a really terrific volume photographer. He really kind of has this figured out. He's rubbing his hands together. He's really got all of this kind of figured out, and which is what really drew me to him. When I first met him, it's like, well, you know, this guy really kind of has got it figured out. So because of that, we wanted to kind of let him tell us what his little gems are and what he wish he'd known when he got started, and some of his friends and that sort of stuff. So, Brian,
yes,
I'm going to turn it over to you. You tell me, what do you wish you'd known when you first started out, all green and stuff?
I wish I'd known that this business, you can't be successful in a vacuum. You need really a good network of people, and I'm not talking about just any people. I'm talking about, you need to know your community. You need to be into your community to have those connections. That's how you're going to build business. You can't just throw a flyer out there and expect people to come to you. You need a network of similar minded photographers out there. There's a lot to be learned. There are many different ways to solve every one of the problems that we hit every day. What I'm telling you today may not apply to you. It may not even be anywhere in your business, how you manage things, but it's different. And if there's something that you can take away from that by learning from others, that's important too. So that's really, I think setting your network up, locally and nationally. I mean, I talk to photographers every day from all over the country, and it's fantastic. I get to know what's going on in their communities, what's selling for them, what works, what doesn't work. And that helps them ask me, and I ask them as well. So it's really it's a community, and it's important to be there. And once you have all that kind of set up, I'd say the next thing on my list would be really, I wish I knew what I was worth. I didn't realize how severely I was undercharging. I had picked up my volume business from another photographer, so I kind of just stuck with how he had things. But once I started digging into and running it myself, I realized there's an awful lot of meat left on the bone. He was undercharging severely, and it just kind of it took me a while to figure out what I could increase to and how to price things and what people would buy, and honestly what my value was as a service provider in this industry. So I finally got around to raising my prices, and I kind of live by the motto of if your customers aren't complaining about your prices, then you're still too cheap. So keep going until you get pushback. Then you found that kind of market, what the market will bear, and then you can push a little bit harder. And then you kind of have to be offering something that is worth that value as well. So I had to step up my game with my composites. I had to increase my knowledge of marketing and how to get more business out there. And but once I figured out what I was worth, it was easy to kind of finally realize that some of the jobs that I was picking up weren't worth the time. I learned how to say no. So not every job is a good fit for you. And once you know what you're worth, that becomes a lot easier to know that a job isn't going to be a good fit or isn't going to be worth the time to do it, or they're asking too much. A lot of leagues or organizations are asking an awful lot from our businesses anymore, and that has to do with old practices of commissions and other things that are always given with packages. I'm not saying don't support your organizations. I'm highly supportive of my organizations, but there comes a point when you have to look at the line of where you're profitable and where it's where you're just giving it all away, and sometimes it's okay to walk away. So yeah, other than that, I think I really want to talk about your customer service. Not realizing how fast things needed to move, I ended up, not being as efficient as I needed to be with my customer service. So responding to people, answering those emails in a timely fashion. If there's issues or mistakes that were made, fix them, and fix them fast. The faster you fix something, the faster you can become the hero that bailed somebody out of a problem, even if it's not your fault. We've been dealing with this as an industry for decades, that a misspelled name, a typo, some parent didn't realize that their kids were on the Cheetahs and not the Jaguars, and so they put the team name out down there, and you got the wrong kid and the wrong team, and the wrong graphic or whatever. That happens, and you're human, it's going to happen, but how you manage to fix that really does make a difference when it comes to being the hero that took care of the problem, instead of the one that created an issue with not responding for weeks and weeks and weeks, or forgetting about it, or haggling over $1.50. If you just reprint the thing, my policy, my studio policy, and this has grown out of all that experience, is reprint it, reshoot it, or refund it. If I can't fix it by reprinting it, I'll offer to reshoot it, even if I have to go set up an entire green screen thing for myself at some point. I will go reshoot their kit if they're absolutely that miserable with their photos. If that doesn't solve their problems, if it's too inconvenient, I'll just refund it, and apologize, and I'll give them a credit for next time if that's the case. But solving those problems, those three policies have really kind of solved 90% of any frustration. You want to take the frustration out of it. So be the customer service hero is what I always say. So that's the other one. But you have a couple of customers in this industry. Your customers are really, you've got parents who are buying the photos, but the other customers are the leagues, schools, organizations that you're servicing. So you have to be their hero too. So you want to know who you're being a hero to. You got to find out who your gatekeepers are, who the decision makers are in your business, in that business. So you're communicating with the right people, and that they're getting the communication. So sometimes you'll get, an assistant coach that you email something to, but it's really the coach that needed the information, and the coach is like, well, I never got it, and well, I sent it to so and so. That's never a good, I sent it to is nothing more than an excuse. Apologize, say, let me get that to you right away. What's your email address? I want to verify that. And then you do it like right now. You want to make sure that everything is done as quickly as possible with as least amount of pain points for the organization. So you want to be their hero too. Um, and taking away all those pain points is really part and parcel of our of what we do as a business, not just the photography aspect of it. So they offer picture day to make it, a keepsake, a reminder of the event, the sport. Um, it's a great way to track progression of your athlete through the years. And I know parents that buy a magnet every year, and they've got a magnet for every single one on their wall. And if something's wrong and that magnet didn't get printed right, man, I'm telling you, I'm just going to go ahead and print that magnet again for free. It's not even a hesitation. It makes it so they don't have to contact the organization. It makes it so that they're happy and they've got that keepsake that they've been, buying every year. Matter of fact, I went to a graduation party recently that had all the magnets from a kid's pre-K, or the little 3 and 4 year old soccer, all the way up through football senior year. They had a magnet,
Oh,
and
wow.
I mean, on this board, and it was framed and all of that, and it was probably the coolest little thing I've seen. And it really struck home with me that that's why we're doing this. Um, that's the level of commitment some parents have to their kids and their sport, and it's important that they have images to go with that. So
I
making
agree.
sure that you're taking care of everybody is really important. Back to networking. Honestly, the biggest thing, the biggest change for me, I think, was my first trade show that I went to. Back when I started, I honestly didn't think this was important. I thought this was a joke. I thought it was a waste of time. What is a trade show being nothing more than a place where you get to see new vendors and their products, and it's nothing more than a product show with maybe a couple of keynote speakers and some platform classes, and that's about it. I didn't figure little volume photographer in the middle of the U.S. here was going to benefit anything from going to these. And then I went to my first one, and I'm going to tell you that it had nothing to do with really the education that I got there, which was beneficial, by the way. It was really the photographers that I met. It was the people, the contacts, and the energy that you get out of going to these things. It really kind of revitalizes your spirit into continuing. This can be a grind, and I think we're all pretty familiar with how big of a grind volume is. You start here in the next, probably week or two, and you're going to go solid until December. All the way into winter sports, and it is a grind, and it can be lonely if you don't have a group to talk to and commiserate with. And so these volume groups that are out there in Facebook, the users group for Photo Day, are just great ways to keep your head in the game and not lose your mind, but also to be inspired. I can't tell you the number of photographers that I'm looking at that I'm blown away by their work. I think some of these guys are just amazing. Not only that, but you find out where they started, how the similar journey on how they got their businesses going, and all that. So it's really, you got a question, you just put it out there, and you have now a network of knowledge that you can solve problems that you couldn't solve in a vacuum by yourself. So anyway, that's really my take on trade shows. I go to every one you can. Go to workshops, meet new photographers, learn from them. Take away what you can, and get their contact information. I just got back from one in Kansas City, and it was hot. it was crazy, but I met 5 or 6 new volume shooters that I didn't even know their names before, and I'm thrilled to know a handful of these guys now that I didn't even know. So we talk already, and we're chit-chatting about business, and they're asking me, and I'm asking
That's
them.
awesome.
And it's a way to bounce ideas off people. it might be completely crazy and all of that, but your wife isn't going to care. Your husband really doesn't want to hear any more about your business anymore. So who are you going to ask? Who are you going to talk to about it? Um,
Well, and
that's the importance.
I will say, sorry, Brian, I didn't mean to
No, please
interrupt
do.
you. I will say that IUSA has now, Imaging USA has now, they're focusing a little bit more on volume. Volume is starting to emerge as a real viable portion of the industry rather than something that you do as a courtesy just because you're also a photographer.
Right.
It is very viable, and I think that people like Brian are making it that way. But there's also, and WPPI also is bringing in some volume, or has, did before COVID, and then that all blew up. But so there are a couple of trade shows that you might want to know about. SPAC, which is Sport and School Photographers Association Conference, or annual conference. They've had some name changes, and they're in trade show season, which is that January, February, March time. And then Sync Sports. Sync has a seniors and wedding and portrait show, and a sports and volume focused show that they've now combined into one. And again, that's in trade show season, January,
That's going
February.
to be an incredible trade show. I'm going to tell you, if you're interested in going to any trade show and you do multiple genres of photography, go to Sync. I think you're going to find that there's a very huge wealth of knowledge there, and it's all at the same time. So you can go to a volume track, and then you can go to a wedding and portrait track, and then you can jump back and forth and do a senior track or whatever. But
yeah, I think that's going to be really interesting this year. I will say as well, SPAC is very focused on volume, so there's not really a ton of wedding and portrait. So if you are looking for a volume intensive, SPAC would probably be your thing. But oftentimes senior photography goes with volume and that sort of stuff. So Sync might be better.
And there's lots of smaller ones out there that are going. I mean, I think Texas School is a good one for volume. There's a new one out. It's called Rise Up. It's by 3 PhotoDay photographers. So they specialize in volume. Howie McCormick, Kane Sampson, and then Kendrick Brown. All 3 of those guys are putting on. As a matter of fact, it's coming up in I think this weekend.
Oh wow!
So and it's a new show. It's a new conference. It's a new learning style. They're taking a different track on it. These guys are great. They're inspirational, and if you don't get anything else out of it other than being inspired, I think you're in a bonus for going.
Pas de deux is a dance. It's very dance focused.
Oh yeah.
And we were there last year or year before. No, at the beginning. It was actually at the beginning of 2020, before everything shut down. And very interesting, and some really big names in dance photography. And they had some really cool things going on, some really cool stuff. And this year it's going to be in Austin, Texas.
Cool.
So that'll be a really artsy fartsy. Anyway. So
absolutely. So go to a trade show, get your learn on, go network, meet people. That's my advice.
You'll meet people that you'll know for a lifetime, and it'll be like old home week whenever you go back again. It'll be really great.
Absolutely.
You should spend that money.
Well, I think the last thing I really wanted to drop on people is that there's a lot of people struggling out there to do or find out how to do composites or other types of photography. And you don't have to be a Photoshop genius to do compositing. I like to say outsource the stuff you suck at. So if you're not good at marketing, grab yourself somebody that knows how to market, learn from them, or have them help you implement a marketing strategy. If you're not good at social media, hire a 16-year-old. They're going to know more than you ever will. If you don't want to do composites, or you want to do composites but you don't know how, there are services out there that'll do it for you. There's plenty out there to find. I'm happy to talk about them later on, but you know, there's knockout services. If you know how to do the composite and you're not really great at doing the extractions, then okay, outsource the extractions. I can tell you right now that PhotoDay is implementing sometime in August, I think, their new knockout service, which is going to be outstanding. You'll be able to just upload your green screen files, and just they'll knock them out for you. You'll be able to download them too if you want to composite them, but you'll also be able to leave those extracted files up there for parents to add to backgrounds and create their own look. So that's going to be a really awesome service, and
I know I'm excited about that, Brian. I was excited about
this next, I think the next 3 or 4 months is going to be pretty exciting over at PhotoDay. So just if you're looking for new stuff, just hang on. So
I know that's one of the things I really love about PhotoDay is that they really are developing this. They're invested in this. Just stay tuned.
Yeah, it's not just a gallery platform that has a sales component to it. It's so much more than that. But like I said, if you suck at all those things, find somebody to help you out with them, because you're only hindering your business. I didn't think I needed help with anything, and I found that outsourcing a few times that really did help. I didn't have time to extract all my stuff, so I paid somebody else to do it. And you think, wow, that's a lot of money to go out and have somebody extract 6,000 images. Yeah, but if it was going to take me, 4 or 6 hours to extract them and then have to go through and clean them all up and all of that, and that's a lot of time that I could have been working on something else, working on marketing, going out and getting more business, answering emails, you name it, anything else to do.
Yeah.
Plenty of services out there that'll do that stuff. And I lost my camera again. There we go. And then I'm going to leave everybody with the final word, which is the word no. That word no is really powerful. It's empowering that you can say no. You can say no to people. They can say no to you, but no is an opportunity to try again. So you don't look at the word no as well, I lost the business. You didn't lose. You just didn't get it this time. Go out and get it. Go try it again. What didn't they like? Ask them. If somebody says, hey, you lost the bid, we came up with so-and-so. Okay, well, what did they have that I didn't?
I like that, Brian.
How can I take?
I like that.
I mean, all they can do is tell you, hey, we didn't like you personally, and okay, well, I guess that's just not a fit. But they got to have something that they went with the other guy for. Is it cost? Is it commission? Is it convenience of scheduling? Any of those number of things could be a factor for them, or no, the board just decided to stay with the guy that they already know, and that usually is one of those things. It's a fight. You're always battling the incumbent, and
but it's always information. It's always good information to have, because you either know, oh, there's things I can improve on, or I never had a chance to have that job anyway. Moving on,
Yeah. So, but it's also empowering to say no. Like I had that opportunity to do a small university here, and it just wasn't going to work. I had to say no. I couldn't keep giving them more stuff at one point or another. I looked at it and I was like, I'm already in the hole and I haven't shot the job yet. So. Yeah,
well, and I'm thinking, look at it like this. If they say no to you, you just thank the universe or whoever you're going to thank that I have read so many horror stories. Thank the universe that you got saved from maybe something, and just move on to the next.
I see it all the time in the volume forums that people are asking, hey, they're asking for this, this, and this, and how should I bid this job? And the first thing I see is great, because it's say no. People are telling you, walk away. Experienced volume photographers that are in these forums are telling you, just walk away. You're gonna lose your butt. If they can't have concessions to the things that you're talking about, and they're not gonna budge, then the impasse is there. You might as well say no and say, I'm sorry, I can't help you this time around, but I'd be happy to look at you next time. If you are unhappy with your photography services, please give me a call. Simple as that. Just no. So.
And they'll either be back because they'll find out that nobody else is going to do it either.
Right.
Or,
And that's honestly, that is the case a lot of times. You'll get somebody that leaves you. They say they just, they found something else and they want to give it to so-and-so's brother-in-law. Okay, cool, great. Let me know when that works out for you. And honestly, call them after the season. call them. How'd that work out for you? Is there anything that I can help you with? Because they may have just completely ruined their job, and they still need photography to be fixed. I've had to bail one team out once that it was so and so's brother that had a camera, and they came in and shot the job, and they still didn't have photos. It was the end of the season, and they weren't getting a call back from the brother-in-law, and I was like, okay. And they said, well, can you just come do some quick photos for us? And I said, okay, sure. And of course, I went ahead and shot the job, and I got money up front to do it, and I gave them photos within 3 days. So
I just don't get it. It's the camera. Somebody's, it's always somebody's uncle, sister, brother has a camera.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, we all have a camera in our pockets. I mean, I actually want to shoot a job one time on my iPhone. I just want to see if I can do it. I don't know. I think it would be fun.
Oh gosh, Brian.
All
right. So speaking of which, let's move on to Brian's favorites. I love this part.
Oh yes, my favorites.
This one, you know why I love this part.
Of course, because you guys are headlining. Black River Imaging, Bay Photo, and PhotoDay. I mean, if you want to talk about the holy grail of all three, those are my three right there. You got to have a reputable lab, good quality, good turnaround service. I mean, products that sell. That's where you want to be at, and developing that relationship with your lab is important. If you have a problem with your lab, I'm going to preach for a second. If you have a problem with your lab, contact them directly. Don't post it on Facebook. Don't bitch about it. Just go contact your lab. You know why? They want to help you. They want to make sure that you're successful, and they want your customers to be happy. That's how this works.
No matter what lab it is.
Doesn't matter who it is. I can tell you every single lab on the planet wants your customers to be happy with their images. So if there's something they can do to make that happen, they will. So I'm off my soapbox. That's enough of that. PhotoDay, obviously, I am a PhotoDay Trailblazer. I am so proud to be a member of that exclusive club. I think I've benefited in many ways from being involved with that project, and the relationships that I've built through them. They're a family. They really are a family. They treat every single one as a family. If you want to be, talk about a good company, that's a family-based company, really. So. All right, so services I love to use. I couldn't do my composites. I swear to God, I could not do composites without my PixNub software. So Damon Bell over there, he is the head cook and bottle washer of PixNub. It's just him. He's a single guy. He's a hell of a programmer. You want to talk about a smart guy? Damon's it. He's
shout out to Damon. Thank you.
Yeah, he is literally right now in the midst of reprogramming both the sports photo automator and easy green screen extraction software to work with Adobe's ever-changing plugin / extensions, filters, landscape. I mean, every day they keep changing something on him, and he is literally having to go back in and reprogram these things. It's taking him months. He thought he was done with version 7. And he thought he could take a little break. And then all of a sudden they released, Photoshop 2021, and it just ruined everything for him. So he is now an official Adobe developer. So he's got the ins with what's going on, and he's able to prepare a little bit more now for what's coming. And so he's rebuilding these things so that they work well into the future with what's on what's on their roadmap. So go find him. It's a great software. It literally will save your life if you're doing your own composites.
Maggie loves Damon as well. Just wanted to.
Yeah.
I happened to see that there was a chat.
I use Photobiz for my website. Back before PhotoDay existed, I was trying to do my own little type of service. I was trying to get rid of my paper, and so I was using the e-commerce forms that they had just released in Photobiz. So they had these forms, and you could set up a small landing page and then have it go to and link to an order form. So I'd give my parents that page. They could buy whatever package. It would only a single package with one a la carte selection area that you could pick from a la carte items, but you couldn't order multiples. So if you wanted two keychains and it wasn't part of the package, you can only order one, and you have to go back in and order another. It was really kind of a drawback. I got some pushback on it. But I was at that time trying to get rid of all that paper, which is what PhotoDay did for me. Um, it didn't offer me, it offered digital downloads, but I had to create a new gallery, a new proofing gallery, every single person that wanted to download, because I didn't want them having access to everybody's photos. And that was the only way to regulate a single download for each person. So that was a lot of work. And when PhotoDay came along, it was so easy for me to just go, okay, I'm done with that. We're done. Moving on. So they solved that problem for me. And then 17 Hats, it is my customer service portal. Honestly, I have created a customer service workflow that allows me to look and sound bigger than I am. I'm able to respond almost immediately because I get a text message as soon as somebody fills in a form. I have multiple intake forms for different sports or photography genres. So you pick your genre, and it tells, it brings up a different set of questions per genre, and then you just fill in what you need. And I get a text message as soon as you hit go. It logs it into my 17 Hats, which then replies to you with an email, an automated email that I've set up, and then a list of frequently asked questions and a link to my site, or back to a landing page, or it gives them instructions on something. So it makes me look like a lot bigger than I am. And then I'm able to, because I get the text message, I don't have to worry about being inundated with 300 emails. I know that I got a text message that I just need to go respond to right now. So that's being the hero. So that system makes it so that my response time is very fast to people's questions. I use their billing and invoicing for seniors and banners and other things as well. So that's the business end of things for me. It helps me really run a business. So before that, it was just a post-it note here and a post-it note there and an email and a text message and people calling me on 2 different phone numbers. And yeah, this is now one place that they get to contact me, and I know where to go. I don't have to worry about whether they contact me on Facebook Messenger or did they text message me or email me, or 25 different points of contact.
And this is embedded in your website?
Yeah, my contact page on my website, as well as I have some. I have an customer service page on my Facebook, my business page, where you click the contact, and it gives you a list of, are you interested in sports? Are you interested in seniors? Are you interested in events? And then you click that, and it runs through its own workflow. So
got it. And then you get a text whenever you get.
As soon as they hit send, I get a text message saying I have an incoming request, and I need to address it. So Acuity scheduling, I still, even though 17 Hats has scheduling and so does Photobiz, they're just not there yet. They don't have, as far as I'm concerned, they're not quite there with the text messaging and email together. If you're going to do a league with a lot of hand-holding and you want more communication than's provided, I use scheduling to make sure that everybody's on time, to schedule my teams, let coaches know what time they need to be there. It's just really handy, and it's text message and email automated, and then they'll get a reminder the day of what time they're supposed to be there, so they can't say they didn't get it. So that's a great service. And of course, looking at Canva, our slideshow today is brought to you by Canva. So
I know, isn't it just amazing? You can, and there's a lot that you can do in it for free. But the pro version doesn't cost much, and it really has. You would be amazed at the library that it has in there for your marketing materials and just anything, social media posts, emails, anything you want to design. Let me just do a little commercial for Canva. Anything you want to design, the television commercial, I've seen them on TV, their commercial. And yeah, anything you want to design, your marketing, anything, you can do it in Canva.
And you don't have to be a graphic designer with a degree to learn it. I mean, that's the great part.
Yeah, it's really very, very powerful, even the free version. So definitely give it a try. Definitely.
Yeah. And along the same lines, sticky folios. I use those for all kinds of things. I use them for landing pages mostly. I set up specific landing pages for organization, which will provide all of the information they need for picture day. That way, they have a link. They can send it in their own email out to their parents or to their coaches or to their staff or whatever, whoever needs that info. They can post the link in their private Facebook group, so everybody can go to the Facebook group and know that, oh, Brian Derenski Photography. Click here and you'll find out all the information you need. I've got a little video in there. Usually it has the gallery access code for photo day if it's a group photo. If it's a group gallery, I'll have how to. It's got a link to download the app. Let's see what else. I had been using Loom, little Loom videos to add in there to walk them through it. Because sometimes people just don't want to read anything; they want to be told, and so video is a really fast way to get across your message. A 1 minute walkthrough of that little document, that little page. Okay, so at the top here we have this, and at the middle here's where you can go to this, and here's the limited time advance pay credit promo or whatever, and just have all that info in there and just walk them through it, and it gives them a face, so it also puts it personal. Instead of having to go and be in front of a bunch of coaches, during a meeting of some kind, you can now put this out there, and it's like you're right there, and it makes it more personal. Video is a pretty strong marketing tool anymore. So,
Maggie has a quick question here for you, Brian, or maybe even for Terry. Is how does Canva compare to Adobe Spark?
Well, I haven't really used Adobe Spark much. I tried it a little while back, and it just seemed to be not nearly as intuitive. I'm a graphic designer, and I found it not intuitive. So,
I haven't used it, so I really can't comment. I just really think Canva is the bee's knees, so it's really terrific.
Yeah, I know my wife used to use Spark quite a lot, but once Canva came along, she doesn't touch Spark now. There's just far more you can do in Spark, even with, add in brand into things like videos. I don't think that's something that Spark, well, no, actually Spark does have a version for video, I think, but not as easy to use. And I think for the money, I think Canva's unbeatable.
Yeah, at this point, yes. Yeah. It's with what you can do with it. I mean, they have gorgeous templates already in there. I would check it out if I were you. I would. I love it. I fell in love with it immediately.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right. Well, and on the line of video, I've been using Animoto for years. For a while there, I got a little stagnant with it. They only offered so many templates, so many versions, but I did not like the built-in slideshow in most systems, and I always wanted to do my own. I thought that Animoto did a good job of creating a very easy to use and easy to manipulate slideshow software. So then they built it out even further. Now they've got marketing videos as well. So it's really, I'm actually looking at jumping off of that because Canva does an awful lot of the same things, and an awful lot less for a subscription there. I just got to get on and download all my previously done videos so I don't lose them and store them here. But anyway, that's I still use Animoto for my senior high school slideshows. So I think I get more out of that than the built-in like Lightroom slideshow or whatever. So, but anyway, that's really about it.
Well, all right. So we have now concluded the pre-planned portion, and so we're opening it up to questions for Brian. So remember to use your Q&A button. I need to open that up here. Use your Q&A.
We should have had a stump Brian session.
Stump
That wouldn't
Brian.
be
Well, we
too
can
hard.
do it now.
I've
Stump
never claimed to
Brian.
know everything, so.
How funny.
But
Yeah, these webinars have been so much fun and so informative. And like I said, you guys, no question is too. Don't be shy. Ask a question.
Why is the sky blue?
Well, no,
well,
that
honestly, if you want to know, the sky is blue because never
there you go.
mind. It has to do with
Anonymous
something about
attendee.
blue being the most reflective light wave. Blah blah. I can't remember, but I learned it in physics.
Okay, Brian, we have a question. What is best? Sorry, what's been your favorite sport to shoot?
That's
from
tough. I have two. I can't really narrow it down, but I have two. I love shooting volleyball, whether it's action or team and individual. I love shooting volleyball. I tell you,
Why?
it is one of the fastest moving sports. In 1 second you know where the ball is, and the next minute is gone. But the action and the play back and forth in a small field of view is really challenging to make sure you've got tack sharp focus, and it's hard to zoom in and out and get everything you need, but it's fun to shoot because it's just a great game to play as well. But and then I love baseball. I think I love the gear as far as shooting TNI. I think it's versatile. There's a lot of poses you can do with it. It's very it lends a lot itself to being creative. You can do a lot of different looks with baseball gear, and players and locations and all of that. So I think for those two, those are my two favorite. Followed pretty closely by football. So
I was gonna say, as far as gear is concerned, football really kind of.
yeah, I've
there.
got some great football images, and I've been lucky to be able to shoot a couple of teams here that year after year keep asking me to come back. So
Awesome.
That's been fun.
Who wouldn't? I've seen your work.
Okay, so Dennis is asking, how many backgrounds do you offer for sports?
How many backgrounds do I offer for sports? Really, for each team, it's one background. I have been known to, for seniors, I will do something special for them. If it's just the seniors on the team and I've shot the rest of the team, the seniors get something special. So I'll either do a high contrast black and white, a very, very rim lit, edge lit type look, or I will do a completely different template or design for them. And just to make sure that the seniors get something special and they get to stand out. I feel that they've gone this far in their sport and they are on the varsity, and I feel they need something special. And parents eat it up too. So I always do a black and white, or I try to do a black and white with each player. So I'll pick one of my favorite images and just turn it black and white. And do they get to pick that? No, thank you very much. That's creative license. I'm going to go ahead and pick that for them. So if they call and say, hey, that's not the one I want black and white, can you turn a different one black and white? Absolutely. So I don't say no. When it comes to those kind of requests, I'm happy to do it. Doesn't take more. But that's really about it. And yes, I do offer black and whites. So like I said, I'll pick one of my favorites for them and just turn them black and white.
I thought it was terrific. I was present at Brian's photo shoot of a baseball team, and what it looked like, how it was shot, all that, the poses that he was doing, and then to see the kids in person, and then to actually see the work when it was done. The team composite is absolutely amazing. You can see that in episode 1 of the webinars. And Brian's compositing is really there. It really is. It's beautiful stuff. And I can't believe you would ever have anyone say, oh, I don't like it.
Honestly, I've only had one that ever had pushback on the background, and it was one parent. The rest of the parents loved it. It was one parent, and nobody ever asked. My coaches never asked me, can I see 3 different backgrounds? they don't want to see three different. They want the photos done, so they trust
Yes,
me.
they want the photos and they want them to look great. And that's it. Yeah, I can't imagine who would complain about
Well,
that, but
that right there also comes back to being their trusted advisor, making sure
yes,
that you're
yeah,
giving them the best service they can get, and they're just going to trust you to do what you do best. So,
yeah.
you know, I think that's an important part of our business is making sure that you know, you're trusted to make
Yeah.
those choices. But
Okay. Maggie is asking, how do you use PhotoBiz in conjunction with PhotoDay?
in conjunction, I don't know that they are really related. I do have a part on my site that if you've got a gallery code, you can just click, gallery here, and it'll take you right to the PhotoDay um, login portion where you type in your code, and then you take it to your gallery on the web. But I don't really use it necessarily in conjunction with it. It's really more a springboard for people to just one stop shop to come either see my work or contact me. But I also don't want people looking. There's always a few parents that don't read anything or won't get the emails or aren't on the list and they don't see the web links. And so I want them to be able to go, okay, well, it says gallery here, and so they can just click on that gallery, and then underneath it says questions, contact me here, and then they can fill out a question. So really, it's more for fielding random questions and showcasing my work. So
Fantastic. Okay. One of our anonymous attendees is asking, how many lights do you use on location? And also, what positions do you use them on? Key fill, rim.
well, I use anywhere from 3 to 6. I think the last one that Terry was at, the baseball shoot,
That was a
I threw a
bunch.
rim light up there because I didn't know. I just wanted to see what would happen. So there was an extra rim light behind. So I had 4 lights on the player and 2 lights, one on each side, lighting my background. I like to control my exposure on my background. Um, Separate from the subject. I don't like to try to expose the green screen at the same time I'm trying to make sure I've got the right rim light on the player. I don't want to have to mess with, just finding the right spot. I'm more focused on the player. I could care less about the background. So if it's a little dark, it's okay as long as it's consistent. But I'd rather light that separate from them. So there's, let's see, as positions, about I don't know, one left, one right. It's strip boxes on each side. It's a 3 light setup for the most part, and then I've got a beauty dish I like to use overhead. Occasionally, I swap out the beauty dish for a larger, like 4-foot octa that I'll have directly overhead, so it'll be completely flat, shining down on them. Depending on the look I'm looking for, or if there's a hat I need more light under, I might take that extra light and use it as a fill light from the side. Just to get a little light up underneath, so that the shadow underneath the hat is different, or the helmet's lit, or really I don't. I just use lighting as a creative tool. So you just you put the lights where you need them. But for consistency, um, you know, one rim light on each side, beauty dish overhead, and light your background, and then throw a hair light up behind it. So.
All right. We got a question from Ray. Will PhotoDay ever allow photographers to view and edit orders before it is submitted to lab? Is that something you're able to
Well,
tell us,
Ray,
Brian?
I can't answer that honestly. I don't know if that's in their roadmap of things to do. Honestly, you're basically wanting to do a short stop between publish and order for the client. Is that because
What
you?
would be my question is what would be his reason for doing that?
Well,
Wanting
I
to
think the
do
only
that.
reason that I've come up against is people may want to do some sort of retouching beforehand. So that's the only use case that I can think of that I would want to pause that beforehand. Um, so yeah, I'm not
Okay.
100% sure what their plan is on that. So
Mhm.
um,
I would have to imagine that somewhere in the roadmap, because you can't, you know what I mean? That's a
yeah,
pretty common thing to want to do, is to not want to edit them all beforehand, but to edit the ones that
right.
the customer wants to buy. So
Right. And even with doing knockouts, I would imagine, if you only want to take the ones that are ordering and knock them out, you won't have to pay for having them knocked out,
Yeah.
um, every single one. Using PixNub, I don't really have to worry about that. I just extract everything, and I have enough product when I put up a gallery that I've got selection for each parent that's good enough for them. So it doesn't cost me anything extra to run 600 or 6,000 extractions. I just hit the button and I go do something else. So come back 3 hours later and it's all done.
And how much retouching, I'm wondering, do you do, Ray, on an order? I wonder. I do smaller groups. Go ahead, Philip.
Yeah, sorry. He said, I do smaller groups, 50 to 100 students at martial arts, cheer, gymnastics. All images are full length knockouts. Don't crop off feet, add shadows.
So you're wanting to minimize the amount of post-production work that you're doing on those. You just want to do the post-production on ones that order. There's some ways around that. You may want to look at a different process, but we can talk about that. Just hit me up afterwards in the PhotoDay group if you're in there, and we can talk about that. There's ways around that.
And you never know. We're actually brainstorming some more webinar and possibly podcast type subjects. So definitely tune in. If you're go to blackriverimaging.com and sign up for a free account. Get on our mailing list. We always send out emails announcing these things. Brian is very vocal in those Facebook groups, and he can let people know when we're going to do podcast or webinar. I don't know what's the difference. Podcast is something you do
Podcast
regularly.
is just audio. Webinar is video with interaction with other people. So
there you go.
I do have a suggestion for Ray for using PhotoDay to do it. Go ahead and just set up an advance pay credit that is a minimum to do photos for each kid, and then that way it minimizes the amount of people that are just having their pictures taken because it's picture day versus having your picture taken because you really want them. And then of course incentivize that, use all the tips and tricks in PhotoDay to make sure that they're buying. But you can do a mandatory $10 advance pay credit to have your child photographed. That way you're only spending time doing photos, just even taking them, of the students that want their photos taken or the parents that want their kids' photos, and then they're already in your system. So that's a way to minimize your after work, especially with 50 to 100 kids. That'd be pretty easy to manage. You can also require in your advanced pay credit, you can require the name to be listed of the student that's being photographed. So then you can have a check-in list. So you download that as a CSV from PhotoDay and print it out, and you've got it right there as a check-in list. So you can say, okay, so this is Jacob Smith, and oh, here he is, he's paid, da da da. But then they have somebody come in and say, well, I didn't pay online. What do I need to do? Well, you can sign them up right there, and you can help them walk right through it, and then you're done. You've got your $10 out, done, and it shows up in your list, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Just a tip that way.
Yeah, sounds good. And we've just been asked for some more information on the PhotoDay group on Facebook. Do we have a link to that anywhere?
You have to be a member of PhotoDay, so you have to have an account with PhotoDay to be in that user group. So go ahead and sign up and look at it, check it out. It's free. There's no charge to set up an account. You can use everything, and you can even upload photos and do dummy orders and whatever, and you're not charged until you buy something, until somebody orders something. So that's the
and then
best
go
thing
on to
about it.
Facebook, and then go on to Facebook and search for the PhotoDay users group, and it's right there. And ask to join, and they'll let you in.
Yeah. So
And Ray just says thank you. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope I helped. So,
do we have any more questions? Roddy's not here today.
Wow.
Darn it. You missed my tie-dye. I'm telling you.
all right. Well.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for being here today. We'll call it since no one has any more questions. Thanks for being here, and do stay tuned. Go to the website, get your free account, get on our mailing list, and we'll be announcing more webinars, more fun with Brian Derenski, because we're going to trade shows and we're going to take Brian with us. And so you'll be able to network with Brian in person and see some really cool stuff that he's going to show people. So
yeah, it should be a good time.
Right.
I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a good deal. You guys are, putting your life in your own hands, letting me off the leash. So
can't wait. All right, everyone. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
All righty. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.